How's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. Happy Halloween in June. I am getting ready to go to Spookalla, which is like a spooky convention that happens in Ocala. It'll already have happened by the time this video goes up, but yeah, it's Halloween in June and I have never been happier. In today's video, we're continuing on with this series where I chat about palettes that I've decluttered in makeups past. This will actually be the finale for this year until I've done another declutter at the end of this year. But yeah, I've done quite a few over this year and last year, and this will be the finale until next time. But I still have some palettes to chat about. These are just palettes that I have decluttered. It's fun for me to reflect on maybe why I decluttered them. Did I forget about them completely? Do I maybe regret that I decluttered any? We're about to find out. Before we hop into the video itself, I did of course film this look. It should already be up on Instagram, TikTok, and probably YouTube Shorts. If not, it's coming soon by the time this video goes up. So yeah, without further ado, let's hop in and chat about the ghosts of eyeshadow palettes past. Let's do a little scooch so I have room for some pictures. All right, so we have a few various ones to go over. We're gonna kick it off with ColourPop. I still had a few more ColourPop ones to talk about, but I didn't want to talk about them all in one video because it would have been way too many. But these first two are from the Bambi collab that they did a while back. I believe there was a Bambi Thumper and Flower one. I only used the Thumper and Flower one, I believe is what these were, the purple and the green one. Overall, these are just like a little too basic for me. The purple one was definitely the cuter one because it was very purple, like it wasn't neutrals. The green one was like green packaging with neutrals inside and a pop of mint to give you the illusion that it's a green palette when it's absolutely not a green palette. Overall, I feel like for the green one, it was just too basic for me. I don't play with neutrals very often. And then as far as the purple one goes, I don't play with monochromatic too often, like especially in a palette. Like I'll do monochromatic looks, but it doesn't need to be a monochromatic palette if that makes sense. If I'm gonna use a monochromatic palette or keep it around, so to speak, it has to be something a little more special. And this was just a little too nothing super extra in my collection. Okay, these 5 palettes. These came out like, oh my gosh, like early 2021, if I'm remembering correctly. It was like their first time doing these little 5-pan magnetic palette sort of situations. So the reddish one was called Cherish. The more bronzy one was Crush. The more just like neutral based one was Lyric. The silvery one was Ballad, and the purple one was Amore. And yes, I did have to like go back in the archives and remember the names of these because I could not have pulled the names out of my hat to save my life. Low-key forgot about these. Yeah, it's just not my vibe, you know? I like color or grungy tones, or if I'm gonna play with neutrals, it's usually cool tones. These are just not memorable for me. I remember feeling kind of excited when these first launched, like I did a whole video with all 5 and everything, but overall, these just aren't my vibe. If these were to come out right now, I probably wouldn't have even tested them out because it's just not something I can see myself using long term, and clearly didn't. But they did go to one of my friends. They went to a good home. Keeping with the same theme, we have another set of 5 pans. I think these launched springtime of 2021. So they kept on this like 5-pan train. I feel like they haven't done this in a while actually, and I'm not mad about it because I don't feel like we need a million 5 pans every couple weeks. But these ones I did enjoy for a while. I actually kept a couple of them for a while as well. I loved the bright colors. I liked that while they were monochromatic, some of them specifically like that green one had like different undertones going on. I really liked that peachy coral one. I don't have them anymore, obviously. It was just like not something I was continuing to reach for. I found myself reaching for other things when I wanted to play with these colors, but for a time these were fun. I liked that they did a bright colored route. I just needed more from them. So the blue one is Rumor Has It. The peachy coral one is Statement Piece. The pink one is Too Hot. The green one is High Society. And the purple one is Cashmere Forever. And yes, I had to look up the names of those as well. But I don't really have much more to say. They were fine. They were fun for a time. The green and peachy one, again, were my favorite ones. I just really enjoyed the undertones in them, and I thought they were just overall a fun time. I don't reach for 5 pans that often. I don't know why. 6 to 12 is my sweet spot. So regardless, moving on. I think this is the last ColourPop one. This came in their Make It Black collection, I believe also in 2021. Again, keeping with that 5-pan theme. I loved the fact that this was a 5-pan palette, but it wasn't monochromatic. I think this was their first time doing that since starting these 5 pans. I was thrilled at that, and I actually was hoping this would be a trend for them and they would continue doing like small, more curated, weirder color stories, not just monochromatic, but alas, they didn't really end up doing that. And I did like this for a while, but similar thoughts. It just wasn't something I was continuing to reach for, so I decided it'd be better off giving to a friend. But I liked the kind of sunset vibes. I liked the pink, orange, yellow together, especially for the summer. I could have personally done without the dark brown and the bronze neutral. Would have preferred something brighter, at least for the shimmer. Like the dark browns, whatever, but like at least that bronzy shimmer, could that have been a brighter color? Absolutely. Moving on to Kyla, formerly known as Mousse Beauty, and they're unfortunately not around anymore. They might still have some stuff discounted on their website, but they announced at the end of last year that they were closing down. The owners just wanted to pursue other things, and yeah, unfortunately the brand is done. But I do still have some of their palettes. I'll probably keep them around for a while, but these two I did declutter last year. This first one is the Impressionism palette. It was their first palette actually, and I quite enjoyed it. Like, I thought it was a great first launch from them. I really enjoyed their formulas. I felt like the mattes were very pigmented and very easy to blend. And the shimmers, while they weren't like crazy sparkly or shifty, they just had a really beautiful wet look on the lids, and I appreciated them for what it was. And even though I kept this palette around for a little while, last year I just ultimately ended up deciding to declutter it because I felt like I just wasn't grabbing it anymore. I felt like I was reaching for other things. I, again, personally could have done without the row of neutrals, but I know that's just me. Some people like the mixture. So of course I did end up giving it to a friend, but I did enjoy this one for a time. I thought it was a great first launch. And this next one was the Rococo palette, I believe is what this one was called. I was really excited about this one as well. I liked kind of the cutesy pastels with kind of the moodier, darker tones mixed in. I thought it was really fun. You know, I can't even put my finger on why I ended up decluttering this one. I guess it was probably just like, again, I just wasn't reaching for it. Like, sometimes it's not anything major and life-changing as to why I decluttered a thing. It was more so just, it was time. I wasn't reaching for it, so decided to pass this one along. But I did enjoy it for a little while. Again, there were a couple bronzy neutrals that I could have done without, but alas, I still thought it was fun for a time, but it had its moments, and I've moved on to other things. And just a few things left from Nomad Cosmetics. Now, I love Nomad Cosmetics. I have a huge collection of them. You can't really see it, but it's on the top row of this second shelf behind my light over here. I have a lot of Nomad palettes, but every so often they launch one that just isn't like my all-time favorite, or one that I feel like I have to keep around. I don't keep things just for the sake of keeping them. I feel like if I'm not gonna use something, I'd rather pass it along to a friend. If I know I'm likely never gonna reach for it again, I'd rather it go to another home. I don't want it to just sit and collect dust. But this first one was the Orient Express. And again, I enjoyed it for a time. I liked the shimmers in here. I loved the bold primary colors as mattes. I love primary colors together. Like, please give me that rich red, blue, and yellow. I just think it's so cute. Gives me Paramore, Hard Times vibes. It's just, it's everything. But it wasn't enough for me to keep this palette around. It's very neutral heavy, very much half neutral, half colorful. And I just felt like for the tones that I liked the most in this one, I could get them other places. So ended up passing this one along. And then they also did a little smaller curated version of the Orient Express in collaboration with like Ipsy or something. Like, I think it went in an Ipsy bag. I could be misremembering that, but it was something like that. It had to do with like a subscription service. And looking back, if this were to happen right now, I would have just immediately given this one to a friend, because I feel like I knew in my soul that I wasn't even obsessed with the original anymore. So I don't know why I felt compelled to like use this one when it was the same shades, just in like a smaller form. And it's neutral heavy, you know, it's very half neutral. I don't know. I shouldn't have even used this one, but again, similar reasons, just ended up giving it to a friend. It wasn't my perfect palette from them. Same with this one. This, I cannot remember the name of. It was some kind of holiday palette. It was like an all shimmer with a matte white and a matte black. Very much trying to play along like colorful Christmas lights kind of energy. This, I don't think they've ever confirmed this, but I'm pretty sure this was recycling shades from their Shanghai palette that they launched and immediately discontinued because they realized it probably wasn't the most appropriate palette to release, and it was upsetting to a lot of people. But they were good. They took it back immediately. They decided not to continue the launch of it. And then to avoid waste, people conspirized, is that a word? It is now, that they took some of the shades and put them in this palette to get use out of them, which I'm all for, honestly. It's much better than being wasteful. But yeah, overall, I just didn't need an all shimmer with a matte white and black in a little 9-pan. I don't know. I just felt like I had these kinds of shades in other forms and I just wasn't reaching for this one specifically. Nothing really bad to say about this little 9-pan. It was cute. It was fun. It just wasn't like something I needed to keep around. And this little quad, cannot remember the name of it. Let me look it up. Was it really called just the Studio 54 quad? It might have been. That's what Google's telling me, so I'm gonna stick with that. It was a 4-pan of like shifty, like duochrome shimmers. I thought this was really exciting when they first launched it. I thought it was a lot of fun. I just feel like they'd started releasing even better shimmers. Like this formula just doesn't even like match up to what they can do now as far as shifty shadows go. And again, I've said it before, I just don't reach for quads very often. It has to be such a special quad for me to be willing to reach for it, and I just kept forgetting to reach for it. Like, I truly would have almost wished these would have just come out as singles and I could have kept them with my singles. I feel like maybe they would have even survived better, but who knows? Overall, it just like wasn't something I was reaching for anymore, so I gave it to a friend. And that about says it all for this video. That says it all for this series. Until next year, I think it's so fun to walk down memory lane and just chat about my thoughts on past things and reflect on maybe how I felt about it, how I would feel about it now. And overall, I've said it before, I'll say it again, I feel like it makes me personally a better makeup user, consumer, anything under that umbrella. Now I do try to be really good about only buying things that I think I'm gonna use for a long time. And even with PR, like I try to only use things that I feel like I'm gonna use for a long time. I don't wanna just use everything for the sake of using everything. One, I only have so much time to test out certain things. And also, I don't wanna be wasteful. I don't wanna just touch on and use everything. I'd rather keep some things untouched to give to my friends or to donate and just be a little more mindful in that sense. But yeah, I would love to hear your thoughts. What did you think about the palettes I talked about today? Do you still have and love any of them? Did you love them for a little while like I did and then maybe not so much later? I would love to hear down below. If you made it to the end of this video, please leave me some Halloween emojis because that is my vibe today. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot. And if you're not already, you can follow me on my other socials. You can join the battybean fam. I'm battybean on everything, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And if you want, you can subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. I'm posting most days here as well. Also, feel free to join my channel memberships. The link to sign up will be down below. You'll get a little badge by your name. You'll get exclusive little emojis, and you'll get a members only get ready with me once a month, which this month I think is planned to go up tomorrow, the day after this gets uploaded. So go ahead and subscribe. You'll get a new video and you'll get access to the previous ones. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye. Canade. Hello. Thank you for that bonk. That was the sweetest little bonk. You showing everyone your cherries? Very cute. I love you, bestie. I feel like you look like the antithesis of me right now. Like I'm so dark and spooky and you're just this beaming bright light. But don't be fooled. She's not as angelic as she appears. She's a menace. I love you.